Hi, I'm Yegi. I'm an entrepreneur and success coach who wants it all. Family, luxury, career, and the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I created the Yegi project to document my journey and inspire others to do the same. My mission is to change the world by influencing and leading others to do what they love and live fulfilled lives. What's up, guys? Yegi here. So today we're going to do a solo episode. I'm going to share part of my wisdom with you of what I had to learn and get over in order to get to a more successful place in my life. So from time to time throughout my journey and my life, I've compared myself to others, if it's personal goals, if it's business goals, if it's social media appearance, all of that. I'm sure almost everybody has been guilty at one point of their life of comparing themselves or their lives to others. And I want to talk about that and see where you guys are at, what you think, what tools you may need to get over that phase and to feel better and really focus on your own journey and goals instead of feeling those negative emotions with comparing ourselves to others. Oh, and before anything, you guys, I'm using this electronic notebook that my husband actually got for our anniversary for me, and I'm loving it. It's called Remarkable. I'm still new at it, so it's been a week I've been using it. I just love the fact that it's tiny, has no distractions. It's literally just like a pen and a paper, but I'm still playing around with the features. So if any of you have used it and have some best practices to share, please message me, email me. I would appreciate the help with it. Or if you're interested in checking it out, look into it. It's called Remarkable. And actually on TikTok, there's a lot of cool reviews and stuff. That's how I was like, I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, babe. But then when I read other people's reviews about it, and they said how the main thing that I love about it too is how it feels literally like the pen and the pad itself. It feels like I am writing on a piece of paper, and the screen doesn't feel like a screen. Like if looks and feels like paper. It's weird if you've never seen it, but it's so cool. Anyways, enough about that. Let's jump into our episode. So why do we subconsciously fall into this comparison loop? Honestly, we don't even realize we're doing it a lot of the times. I think sometimes it could be the way we were raised. If we were compared to others, even our siblings or cousins growing up, we could have become a bad habit for us to just live that way, to try to measure up to your older sibling or your smarter sibling or your cousin who went to MIT, right? So I feel like it can be a really bad habit that has been instilled in us when we were young children, and we just think that's the way it needs to be. And we always try to measure up. We try to compare ourselves to people around us that we think we want to be like. So that's one thing that could be happening. And unless we're very aware, and I think self-awareness is the key if we want to be confident, if we want to be successful, if we want to be happy, we need to pay attention and try to see if we are falling in this downfall of comparison. So that is one reason why we might be subconsciously comparing ourselves to others and constantly feeling negative and feeling like we're not good enough, feeling like we should be owning or doing more things just like the people that we look up to. In a moment, I'll talk about what to do instead of comparing yourself to others in order to live a better, happier, more fulfilling life. But for this specific reason, honestly, it's not your fault. You just have this habit now just because the way you were raised, right? And it's easy to blame our parents and be angry about it or blame other people, but that's not why I'm mentioning this. The reason why I'm mentioning it is because I want all of us to be aware and pay attention. If it feels like it's just a habit and we've just been like that all our lives, you want to put an end to it. You really want to catch yourself every time you are comparing yourself to others and doing things in certain ways. And especially when you have negative emotions attached to those things, you want to put a stop to it and instead take one little action towards your own goals, your own wants. But before you can actually even do that, and again, we'll get into this a little bit later, but before you can actually do that, you also need to be very clear on where you're going and what you truly want for yourself. Now, actually, that brings me to my second point of why we compare ourselves to others. And it is easily missed because a lot of times we don't spend time figuring out what we want and where we're going. We don't know what exact journey we're on. We may pick up things based on what our friends and family are doing, especially people that we may know that make, let's say, a lot of money doing a certain thing, or we see their life looks very happy on social media. We're like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to have that life. So a lot of times we're not even aware of this, but the reason why we are comparing ourselves to others is because we're not clear on what our goals and what our journey is. So again, going back to that point, make sure you are self-aware and you sit down and you spend some time with yourself to figure out where you want to go. If we're not clear on where we want to go, it's very easy to get distracted by the shiny object, and that shiny object could be somebody else's life or somebody else's job or somebody else's belongings. Now, again, we talked about journey, so I do want to kind of cover this within this area. We want to always remember that whatever journey we're on, somebody else that we're comparing ourselves to are on a totally different journey. They may want to end up on a whole other planet, and you may want to end up on a whole other planet. But if we are comparing ourselves and trying to be like and do the things that other person is doing, more likely we're going to be unhappy at the end of it anyways if we become exactly like them, because that's not the planet we wanted to end on, for example. So keep in mind, everybody's on their own journey. Everybody has their goals and aspirations. And one other thing I want to add to that too is we all have our path and we all have our timing. Now, how we maneuver that is a lot of choices, a lot of decisions, a lot of different things we can do in life. But that's kind of the exciting part of it. And again, we want to pay attention and we want to make sure that we're doing those things on the daily, weekly, monthly, based on what we want, where we want to go, not based on what others are doing. Now, easier said than done. So I'll give you my example. This is what has happened to me in the past. So I own an eyelash extension company, and there is a bunch of eyelash extensions companies now. There's other young entrepreneurs like me who are sole owners, women, and I see their work, I see their company and their presence online. And at times I have gotten intimidated. I was like, oh my God, they're doing all these things. They're doing these ads, these promotions, they have these new products, they have these new type of tweezers, and I haven't gotten on any of those within myself or my company. And a lot of times that could be draining. It could be I don't know, it's not inspirational because I'm comparing myself directly to what they're doing, not the vision I have for my company in this example. And when I caught myself doing that time to time, I realized that, oh no, like this is not working. I can't live like this. Anytime I take my focus away from my projects within my company because I'm doing things a certain way, because that's my company culture, that's where I want to lead it, and I have different goals with the company compared to what this other company is doing. So it's the same thing in our personal lives. If we compare to others, we may end up somewhere totally different and still unhappy. But if we focus on what we want to do and inch by inch kind of aim towards those goals and that journey, that's when we're really truly going to see satisfaction and fulfillment towards our goals and our dreams and, again, where we want to be in life. So another thing I want to say that may be comforting for a lot of you is that we all have our time. And this is one thing that always keeps me going because I'm a very driven person. I want to accomplish a lot. I want to be number one in all areas of life and everything. But the reality of it is nobody could be like number one spotlight all the time. Everybody has their time to shine. And at this current moment, it may not be my time to shine. It may be somebody else's time to shine, but I'll get my turn if I work, and that's the goal that I want to accomplish for myself. I think that has always been really comforting for me to know. And I had this scenario or this example I would give to a lot of people, and it would give them comfort. So I hope it'll give you guys comfort too, is think about superstars, celebrities, right? Artists, musicians. Of course, there's like the few that are legends, and we'll never forget their names, like Michael Jackson, but everybody has their time to shine, to be on that stage, to have the spotlight, to sell the concert tickets, and you will have your own time as well. So keep working at it. Don't give up. Don't think just because there's already 10 people in the spotlight, you can't get your turn. You very much well can be, but this may just not be your time yet. So keep at it. And I promise you, if you are very clear on your goal and your vision and you really work hard every day towards it, you will definitely get there. So here's another reason why we compare ourselves to others, and I hate it. And at times I take a break from it if I need to. And it's social media, if you didn't guess it, right? It's so hard. First, it's so hard to be 100% genuine and show all your flaws and all the negative aspects of life on social media. So that's hard. Even if everybody wanted to be 100% real and 100% open on social media, it's hard. I've tried to be that person, and honestly, it's really hard to let everything out there that's negative. It's so much easier to share all the happy, positive, great things that are going on in your life. So I don't know exact statistics, but I want to say at least 80% of the time, everything we see on social media is all the positive, all the good that's going on in people's lives. So that's becomes really hard for us to compare our lives to that, because we're seeing this person is on vacation, they're having dinners and drinks, they're buying this nice things, they look so happy with their significant other and their kids, and that's all we're seeing. And more than half the time, behind those smiles and those perfect photos, there is lots of issues, and some people might even be depressed and suicidal behind those perfect images. And you observing and comparing your life to the perfect picture is what's causing you to not have your own version of your perfect life. So we just need to be aware of this. There are people working on, putting out a good message out there, hopefully for all of everybody's mental health. And I encourage you to follow people who are more genuine on their social media pages. Try not to fall for the perfect image of anybody or anything. But yeah, I think being aware that this is happening to us can give you a clue of, okay, maybe every time I look at social media, I'm having negative emotions. Maybe right now, instead of spending my time on social media, I need to take a break from it. And that 1-2 hours, actually, some people spend a lot more time than that on social media in a day. I'm going to spend that time on personal development. I'm going to spend that time on listening to podcasts that inspire me. Yegi project. Or I'm going to take a class, a seminar, anything to better myself to get me to where I want to go, right? And I could promise you that will change your life significantly. You will not miss anything important on social media, on the news. If it's very, very important, the news will float to you. You'll find a way to hear about it through friends, family. So trust me. And actually, I'm kind of currently in that stage. So I'm not super active on any of the social media platforms right now. I am dedicated to the podcast, so I at least put out one podcast a week personally, put my time into that. And also instead, right now, I really want to, if you guys have listened to my podcast and know me a little bit, right now, I really want to master meditation, because that's going to be that's my outlet right now to de-stress, to get centered, to work on myself. I feel like that's my next thing I can work on for my personal development. development. And I realized right now I don't have much time in order to focus on that goal. So something had to be dropped from my personal life, and social media was first to go. So I didn't deactivate my accounts. I still, with the help of my colleagues, we still post and are active for the business and all of that. But personally, I don't spend any time or much time on there. Instead, I'm spending that time right now to work on personal development. And when I'm ready and when I have more time and I feel like I have better control over my priorities, then I can go back and spend time on seeing what's going on with my friends' life, with the people that I follow, with celebrities, everything else. And honestly, I've done this in the past. Most of the time, you don't really miss much. You can catch up on everybody's lives really quickly. So focus on your own lives. Don't compare yourself to others. So another thing that kind of goes hand in hand with comparing ourselves to others is the negative down talk on other people. So some people compare themselves to others, but they do it in a negative way. So they don't even look at other people and say, oh, I want to be like them, and then feel bad about themselves. But instead, they take it out on other people, especially on social media. You may see negative comments like, you're ugly, even a simple comment like that. And that comes from a very insecure place of an insecure person who wants to bring other people down in order to make themselves feel better. So now, if you are a victim of other people not being very nice to you, if it's in person, even it could be your friends and family, if it's anything that's not making you feel great about yourself, you have to keep in mind, not everybody handles life properly. We wish they would, and we wish everybody would get help in order to handle life and their emotions, everything as nicely as possible for the general public, but a lot of people don't know how to handle it. So first, be aware of that. Second, don't be mad at other people for being even rude and mean and assholes, I'm sorry to say, but instead, like I said, be aware. It may be coming from an insecure place from their lives. So they may be feeling ugly, but they may want to make you feel even more ugly to make themselves feel better. So I always like to tell people, first of all, if somebody's making you feel negative emotions, first question it. A lot of times it's them and it's not you. You know, in relationships we say it's me, it's not you, but it's the opposite in this case. It's always them and it's not you. So if you approach it with that first initial train of thought, you can think more clearly about the situation as a whole versus you start feeling negative and sad that somebody called you ugly. And if you get in the habit and the practice of doing this, you will see you'll almost zone out what anybody says. Instead, you'll find a way to kind of justify of why that person is being mean or the way they are being, right? And remember, it's them, it's their issues, it's their insecurities for being such a butthole to you compared to you actually being ugly or bad or anything negative that they're saying about you. Now, if you're one of the people who do actually subconsciously bring other people down in order for you to feel better, again, it's not your fault. You may have fallen into the loop of that practice just from the way you were raised or the people you've been around, or just it became a bad habit without even you realizing. But you want to be aware, you want to look at things and you want to question it. You want to say, oh my God, am I really that person? Do I bring other people down to make myself feel better, if it's online or in person? And if you are, like I said, you want to practice something else that's going to be healthier and better for your life to make you feel better and more good about yourself compared to doing that in such a negative way, right? There's two ways we can accomplish that goal of you feeling better about yourself and actually believing it instead of you trying to bring other people down to feel better about your life. And I think it's the same thing about gossiping, same thing about talking about other people to your friends. I think any negative talk about another person is kind of falls under that scenario. And if you don't like hearing this because you might be like, oh no, I just like talking about other people. It's not gossiping. It's not negative. But if you really pay attention, half the time it is negative, and you have to really think about it and be very aware. Why do I even care to talk about these other person's lives or their issues or their personal stuff? Instead, I can look, if it's something you can discuss with a friend to help a friend, great, do it. But if you're just talking, honestly, it's a waste of time. Why do that? Instead, focus on your life, focus on your shortcomings that you're currently not 100% happy about, and spend your time and energy into improving yourself and your life. You would be so much happier. And yeah, that's the goal in life, right? For us to live happy lives. And I promise you, if you get in the habit of doing these things, you would be such a happier person and therefore be a lot more successful in all areas of your life. If it's relationships, if it's money, if it's career, all of it. Before I say goodbye, I want to conclude this episode with last 2 things you can do right now in order to not fall for the downfall of comparison. So one thing, make sure you're aware and you accept all your flaws, because we all have flaws. And it's totally okay to have flaws. It's totally okay to not be where you want to be in life, but it's not okay to ignore it and then feel bad when you see other people accomplishing and having the things you want. But if we're aware of our shortcomings, of our flaws, and accept it, then we can just work on it little by little to get to where we want to get. So that's number 1. And then the second thing is, where is that place and who do you want to be? Like, where is the specific place you want to go and who do you want to be as a person, as your character, right? And if you know that and if you define that clearly, it is way less likely that other people's lives and other people's like relationships or their materialistic things would get to you, right? Then you'll be less likely to compare yourself to others and fall for that. So make sure you work on that. And I hope you guys, again, enjoyed this episode. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you guys. Until next time. Bye. Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.